$1,000 for every man, woman, and child, and yet, despite that huge expenditure, 87 million Americans are either uninsured or underinsured. We have 30,000 people who die each year because they don't get to a doctor on time. We pay by far the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs. And unbelievably, some 500,000 people go bankrupt every year. You know why they go bankrupt? Because they have cancer or they have heart disease and they can't afford to pay off their medical debt. That is cruel, that is outrageous, and we are going to end all of that. Look, healthcare, I believe this my whole life, and most Americans do. Healthcare, whether you are rich or middle class or poor, healthcare is a human right, not a privilege. And the function of a rational and humane healthcare system is to guarantee health care to all, not to make $100 billion in profit last year for the insurance companies and the drug companies. So whether the healthcare industry likes it or not, we are going to pass a Medicare for all single-payer system. And I'll tell you something else. You know, what our campaign is about is thinking outside of the box and not running away from some of the very serious issues facing our country. It's very easy for politicians to put difficult issues underneath the rug and ignore them. We don't. And one of the issues that we must deal with is the existential threat to our country and the entire planet of climate change. Now, sadly, we have a president who thinks climate change is a quote-unquote hoax. Well, in my view, Donald Trump is a hoax. And what the scientists are telling us, and this is really scary stuff, what they are saying to us, of course climate change is real. Of course climate change is caused by human activity. And of course climate change is already doing devastating harm to our country and the world. But this is what they are now saying. They are saying that they have underestimated the speed and the severity of the damage that climate change is doing and will do unless we get our act together. Polar ice caps melting at a faster rate than they had anticipated, oceans warming at a faster rate, sea level rising at a faster rate, drought more severe, extreme weather disturbances more severe, acidification of the oceans more severe, and what the United Nations tells us, if we don't get our act together, by the end of this century, there may well be hundreds of millions of climate refugees, people no longer able to live in their communities because there's no water to drink, no land to grow their crops. What we have got to do is to finally have the courage to tell the fossil fuel industry that their short-term profits are not more important than the future of this planet. And I'm very proud to tell you that we have introduced the most sweeping and comprehensive climate change proposal ever introduced by any candidate running for federal office. And that proposal is based on the outline of the Green New Deal. And what that proposal is about is transforming our energy system as quickly as we possibly can away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency and sustainable energy. And by the way, when we do that, when we retrofit our older buildings and make them more energy efficient, when we transform our transportation system, when we make major changes in agriculture, when we invest in wind, solar, geothermal, and other sustainable energies, we can create up to 20 million good-paying union jobs. And when we talk about an agenda that works for working people, what we intend to do is to end our broken and racist criminal justice system. We cannot continue to have more people in jail today than any other country on earth, over 2 million. What we intend to do is invest in our young people, in jobs and education, not more jails and incarceration. We are going to end private prisons and detention centers. And I'll tell you what else we're going to do. We are going to end the destructive war on drugs. There are some things that a president can do by executive order, other things you need legislation. One of the things that a president can do with an executive order is to make marijuana legal in every state in this country. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. Be honest with me here now. How many people here know someone who was arrested for possession of marijuana? Whoa. Jesus. Anybody know anybody who has not been arrested for possession of marijuana? All right, what we are going to do, I mean, that's the enormity of the problem. What we are going to do is expunge the records of those arrested for marijuana. And when we talk about broken systems, we have a broken and racist immigration system that needs to be reformed. On our first day, we are going to restore the legal status of the 1.8 million young people eligible for the DACA program. Under our administration, federal agents will not be snatching babies from the arms of their mothers. And under our administration, we will succeed in passing bipartisan, comprehensive immigration reform and a path toward citizenship for the undocumented. The American people, whatever their political views may be, are horrified by the kinds of gun violence and mass shootings we have seen in this country. So my promise to you is that our gun policy will be written by the American people, not the NRA. We will have universal background checks. People with violent pasts should not own guns. We will end the gun show loophole and the straw man provision ends. We will do what the American people want. End the sale and distribution of assault weapons in this country. Now, I am a United States Senator, and I'm on the floor of the Senate, and I hear a lot of speeches from my conservative Republican colleagues. And their mantra is that they believe in small government, they believe in getting the government off the backs of the American people. And I say to those hypocrites, if you believe in getting the government off the backs of the American people, understand that it is women who have the right to control their own bodies, not the government. So here we are in the most consequential presidential election in the modern history of this country, if not in the entire history of this country. And what our campaign is about, as I mentioned, is defeating a very, very dangerous president who is undermining democracy, who has no respect for the Constitution, who thinks that the free media is an enemy of the people, who thinks that the Congress does not have a right to have oversight over his administration, who is now busy attacking the judiciary. All right? All right. Furthermore, we have a president who is running a corrupt administration. And I know that not everybody in North Carolina agrees with everything that I say. I got it. But I hope that we can all agree that that kind of person should not and must not win a second term. But our campaign is not just about beating Trump. Our campaign is putting together an unprecedented multi-generational, multi-racial coalition of millions of people. Now, I understand that some of our opponents are billionaires and they're buying the airwaves. I got it. Others of our opponents get, lots and lots of money from billionaires. What makes our campaign different is not only the unprecedented level of grassroots support that we have, it is how we raise our funding. And I'm very proud to tell you this, I really am, that we have received more campaign contributions, almost 7 million, from more Americans, over 1.5 million, than any candidate in the history of American politics. So I do understand, I do understand the power of the billionaire class. I understand that they have unlimited amounts of money. But at the end of the day, if we stand together and we do not allow Trump and his friends to divide us up based on the color of our skin or where we were born or our sexual orientation or our religion or our agenda, if we stand together as one people, we will not only defeat Trump, we will transform this country. Nope, it ain't Bernie, it is all of us. We are in this together. The message of our campaign, as you all know, is us, not me. Is us, not me. And the reason for that is pretty simple, is that we reject Trump's definition of what the good life is about. What he believes is that what the good life is about is making as much money as you can, becoming a billionaire, stepping on everybody, lying and cheating and stealing. That's his understanding of what life is about. We reject that. We understand that we are stronger human beings when we reach out to each other. When your family, look, every family in America has got a problem, believe me. All right? And we are stronger when your family helps my family and when my family helps your family, when we understand we are in this together. And we also understand, if we know American history, that real change never, ever takes place from the top on down, always from the bottom on up. That is the history of the labor movement. It's the history of the civil rights movement. It is the history of the women's movement. It is the history of the gay rights movement. It is the history of the environmental movement. And what that means is the only time that real change takes place is when millions of people stand up and look around them and say the status quo is not working, we want change. So brothers and sisters, this is a campaign of change. This is a campaign of justice. This is a campaign of economic justice, social justice, racial justice, environmental justice. This is a campaign which uniquely is prepared to take on Wall Street, the insurance industry, the drug companies, the fossil fuel industry, the military-industrial complex, the prison-industrial complex, and the whole damn 1%. Now, you know, as I think all of you know, we're getting the establishment just a little bit nervous. They look around and they say, oh my God, people are beginning to stand up and fight for justice. People want decent wages, decent education. People want the rich and the powerful to start paying their fair share of taxes. People believe that health care is a human right. People want to address the crisis of climate change, want to end a broken criminal justice system and a broken immigration system, and protect a woman's right to control her own body. Well, the establishment is getting nervous. That is a good thing. Let us go forward. Let's win here in North Carolina. Let's win the nomination. Thank you all very much.